Well, this is getting back to Birdie and the Seven Bodies. How difficult did you find it to work really contemporary political attitudes seamlessly into a golden age style mystery set in the 1890s?
Yeah, technically it was quite difficult. I do admire Agatha Christie, and it was her centenary year. Nobody noticed this when the book came out, that I'd written my tribute to Agatha Christie. There were quite a lot of reviews, but nobody seemed to pick up on that. But it was meant to be like that, with a little rhyme connecting each of the stories as you get with, you know, 1, 2, buckle my shoe, and all those other titles that she used. So I was using her technique in a way, but doing it in my own fashion, and certainly a few contemporary references had to come in as well.
Yes, it really is a fun book. Now, we have a little bit of time, but I want to digress for a moment, if I may, because when Peter was presented with a specially bound copy of Motives for Murder at the Dorchester Hotel last November, he treated us to a rendition of one of his many fine works, but it's a Lovesey creation with a slight difference, and it's all about the autopsy scene. And I wonder if you'd mind treating this audience
to you can remember, bear with me, I'll try and I sometimes finish off a talk with this. As an ancient crime writer, I have to confess that there's only one rule for a surefire success. Fill your book up with characters sexy and mean, and start chapter 1 with a post-mortem scene. Your detective should be a female private eye, or a crime-solving cat, or a cross-dressing guy. But who you bump off doesn't matter a bean, as long as you give them a post-mortem scene. Now, Patricia Cornwell is on a good thing, among the bestsellers with Grisham and King. Read her after a meal and you turn slightly green, for she leaves nothing out of her autopsy scene. Now, a writer from Bristol ran out of ideas, so he went to the pub and he had a few beers. Then he stepped out in front of a stretch limousine. Now he's got the star part in the Hasn't quite finished. If you take my advice, you'll win every award. You'll win tributes and some things from home and abroad. But don't be surprised when you hear from the Queen. What one really enjoyed was the post-mortem scene.
Wanted you to have the chance to listen to that. It was absolutely priceless, I think. Now we have just a few minutes, maybe time for a couple of questions. Paul.
Going back to the humour, you were talking about how sometimes humour slips in when perhaps you weren't expecting it to. Have you ever given in and actually adjusted the story to accommodate something that's just too funny to leave out, or are you more disciplined?
Oh gosh. I am really rather disciplined, I hate to say. I think that the plot is terribly important, and I do work hard to get that right. So I think I would cut out anything that I felt was fun to use, but just wouldn't move the plot along in the way that I wanted to.
And that again is part of the reason why these books are so varied and so fresh and non-formulaic, that they're written, that they're effortless to read, but they're written with a lot of discipline. I think that's the secret of success. Another question?
Janet.
Peter, you just said the importance of plot. Would you like to comment on the importance of character?
Oh, yes, well, I've tried all sorts of things with character. One of my methods is to use real people, to use my friends and enemies, and put them into books at the start. And inevitably, the demands of the plot mean that they'll do extraordinary things that those people would never really do. So they tend to change and evolve as the story goes on, and nobody up to now has ever recognised himself or herself as one of my characters. So that partly is the method, really, that I tend to use. Otherwise, calling them characters A, B, C and D at the beginning, it doesn't sort of bring them to life for me. And I do like them to have a life of their own. Right from the word go.
And again, it's this fusion of character with plot that works so well. I think we've got time for one more question, lady there.
Peter, I've not read any of your books. If I was to start reading the Diamond books,
yes.
Would you recommend that I read them in chronological order of you writing them, or can you
Yes,
do
I
in and out?
don't think it matters really. They're all meant to be okay to start. I would pick up what you can find and read. And some people do like to start with The Last Detective, which was the very first one. And it was, incidentally, it was called The Last Detective, and I thought it was never going to be a series. But it won the Anthony Award at the Bouchercon in Toronto. And then the publisher was very keen for me to follow it up with something else. So by that time he was out of the police, he'd lost his job. And I had to sort of write a book called Diamond Solitaire about him sort of doing things on his own outside the police. And gradually I got him back into the police. But no, I don't think it matters too much which one you start with. Thank you.
And I think that the truth is that wherever you start, you'll enjoy it.
Yes.
No. Yeah.
And if you buy one from the bookshop, of course I'll sign it for you.
Peter will be signing immediately after we finish, but I'd like to thank you for coming along to listen to this interview, and most of all, of course, I'd like to thank our guest of honour, the great Peter Lovesey.
Hey!